Todd McShay's 2.0 mock draft came out. It was available right now on ESPN Plus. We released it for you here, and he's got 5 quarterbacks, as you see there, going in the first round, including 4 straight, 4 of a kind, right off the top. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. If it happens, it would be something that had never happened before, and there are a number of reasons. So, Mike Tannenbaum, you pointed out on the show yesterday that next year does not project to be a year where there are a lot of quarterbacks teams are excited about. So that might explain why they're more desperate, if you will, to go out and try and grab one now. But you were telling me this morning that this is the riskiest group of first-rounders that you can remember seeing. Why is that?
Greedy, just look at them. Zach Wilson from BYU couldn't beat Coastal Carolina and has had multiple injuries already. Trey Lance started 1 game at North Dakota this year. Justin Fields had a transfer from the University of Georgia to go to Ohio State, and depending on what games you look at, specifically Alabama, he struggled at times this year. And Mac Jones was a 1-year starter at Alabama with an all-star cast. So when you look at how you're going to improve your team, all 4 of those quarterbacks have massive, massive question marks. That's why if you need a quarterback, that's why Carson Wentz is going to be traded probably for at least a first-round pick. And this really reminds me, Greeny, of 3 years ago where we had 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10, and 2 of those, Josh Rosen at Arizona and Sam Darnold, unfortunately, Greeny, for you at the Jets, there's already either gone or massive question marks. And I think 3 years from now, we'll look back at 2021, and of those 4 quarterbacks we just talked about, I think at least 2 of them, it's reasonable to think won't be there.
Well, that is the reality of drafting quarterbacks in the first round, as long as there has been a draft. It's about a 50-50 proposition. But, Jeff, what is the sense you're getting is, again, a guy like Todd McShay, he's not just making that up. This is the stuff that he's hearing from people. What is your sense about the way teams are approaching this draft relative to the quarterbacks?
Well, it's interesting because philosophically, obviously, you want to draft a quarterback that's going to be a franchise guy out of the gates because you're going to save on that rookie contract. Like, that has not been lost on teams. But not to keep just hammering away on the Tom Brady thing, but like that also perhaps could open up some eyes of some general managers. I know there's only one Tom Brady, but the idea of still getting that veteran quarterback, this is a trend-based league where teams will say, how can we replicate other situations that are successful? By all means, I think that teams will continue to stretch and push to get that quarterback, move up to picks that probably have no right picking that quarterback at that point. But I just think that each year comes with different sets of circumstances, and every year it feels like at some point we're going to go against what we expect and see some crazy outlandish move by a team, and I don't think we should put that out.
So let's put some names to that. You're talking about, I get it, you're talking about veterans who could become again, I'm not, to use the phrase the next Tom Brady is a stupid phrase, but a veteran that might go to a team and help them immediately. Who are we talking about? Are we talking about Matt Ryan? We obviously have seen Matt Stafford go from one place to another. What quarterbacks are we talking about?
Well, I mean, even when we think about, look, I understand like the Lions, for instance. They go and get Jared Goff, and people think that that's just unloading the contract, but the Lions also look at that situation as possibly like, how can we rekindle magic? Like, that's another trend that we saw last year when it came to Ryan Tannehill. The same thing will happen with Carson Wentz. Matt Stafford going out to LA, all of a sudden, overnight, he goes from a guy who, with the Detroit Lions, they're completely frustrated that they can't get him over the hump, to all of a sudden beating the next Tom Brady. So I just think that there's so often times when teams really just try to rekindle magic, and they go a number of different routes to do exactly that.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.